The sixth meeting of the Senate Standing Committee on Health Services is called to order. I would ask you to check your cell phones, make sure you turn to silent. With that, Becky, if you would please call the roll.
Senator Rocky Adams. Senator Berg. Here. Senator Carroll.
Here.
Senator Douglas.
Present.
Senator Herron. Here. Senator Mills.
Here.
Senator Nemes.
Present.
Senator Rawlings. Present. Senator Titchener. Vice Chair Richardson.
Here.
Chairman Meredith.
Present. And we do have a quorum duly constituted to do business. With that, we'll get straight in the agenda. First bill we will hear is House Bill 9. I know the sponsors are here and rushing to the table. Good morning, afternoon, gentlemen, whichever we are right now.
I believe we are afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Well, Central Time, we're still in the morning. So, yeah. But thank you. You gentlemen have been here before, so if you would just introduce yourself for the record and feel free to proceed.
Sure. Adam Bowling, State Representative, 87th District.
Representative Jason Petrie, House District 16.
And House Bill 9, it formulates the Medicaid Oversight and Advisory Board. This board was fashioned after the Public Pension Oversight Board back when the pension issue started putting pressure on various points of our state budget and state policy as well. I think everybody had a different idea of how to go about that. And this body, in its wisdom, said, hey, we need to have a board that can look at these issues, look at all different points of them, look at the ripple of them, unintended consequences, all those things, and really study them before you move forward with a certain policy. I think that has served us well here in the Commonwealth. Since I came in 2019 and moving forward, I think it served us well. This board looks to accomplish the same thing on another topic that affects all of us across Kentucky, which is Medicaid. It currently, nearly 1 out of 3 Kentuckians are on Medicaid. It affects every provider in the state, every healthcare system. It's our second largest general fund dollar item, and it's our largest budget unit as a whole when you consider federal funds as well. So all this board does is it brings the executive branch, legislative branch, and stakeholders into the room together. Let's weigh these issues through. Let's study them. Let's take a deep dive into all of them before setting policy prescriptions. Both in this bill and in another bill we have, House Bill 695, we painstakingly tried to stay out of policy decisions in those. We really focused on, okay, what's a structure so that we can have those conversations that will lead to better policy issues as we move forward. So that's what the bill does. I'm happy to go section by section if you'd like, Mr. Chair, or any members of the committee. Happy to answer questions as well.
Well, I commend you for bringing this bill forward, and you're so correct. I know many people in this committee have served on the old Medicaid Advisory Committee, and I think we did a pretty decent job, but obviously couldn't dedicate the time to it that it needed. And just remind everyone, when I came here in 2017, the Medicaid budget was $10 billion, and now it's approaching $20 billion, and a lot of changes. And I had suggested that we go back to the Medicaid Oversight Committee, but that would not be nearly as effective. What you're proposing here is, I think, you're to be commended on it. But before we get into questions, we'll note that we have a committee sub. And motion second. All in favor, say aye. And there's also a title amendment.
At the end.
Yes, we'll take that vote at the end. Just want to make sure you're aware of that. With that, we'll open up for questions. Yes, Senator Herron.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you all for bringing this bill forward. I think that this is something that we definitely need to look at. We've seen several bills this session related to Medicaid. One of the questions or concerns that I have is as far as who will all be represented on this. One of the things I do know on, I think it's page 3, it does say a licensed healthcare provider. I'm also curious as far as making sure that those people who are actually on the ground doing the work every day, to make sure that those voices are heard. I think a lot of times we talk about things in theory, but in practice, it looks a little different sometimes. And so I'm just curious if you all are open to putting folks who are some of the people who are doing the work like community-based service providers on this.
Sure. Thank you for the question, Senator Herron. And we had this bill last year. We passed it through the House when you were a House member. I think it went out 94-4. We brought this back. Really, the only feedback we kind of got in the interim was the size of the board. I think in last year's version of the bill, it was around 26 members, I believe. And I think there was some concern out there that, hey, once a board becomes too big, it's hard to really dive in and get things done. So we scaled it down just a little bit. And I think currently it has 21, 23 members to kind of address that concern. Again, we are just starting this right now. We hope to get it stood up, but I'm sure the members, whoever those members are that are on that board, they're going to have recommendations. But you know how long it takes. I mean, hopefully this thing can be up and running and meeting by the fall, but we just need to get it stood up for now, and then we can have those larger conversations about, okay, do we need to add anybody? Is there some other group out there that we think could bring value or could be, bring a good conversation to the table? These are all 2-year terms, so people are going to cycle off pretty quick. So we think there will be a good chance for good representation.
Thank you, if I may, Mr. Chair. Thank you for that comment. I just want to reiterate just the importance of having those folks who are doing the work. As someone who's worked directly with youth and families, sometimes, we would make decisions, but then when we got to the actual work, it didn't make sense. And so I look forward to seeing this task force or this board go up and working with y'all to make sure that we're doing what's best for the Commonwealth. Thank you.
Just, if I may, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, please.
A common concern that we share, and as Representative Bowling said, really the main comment we got was to cull the number so it could remain effective. We've had different sectors involved, and we made sure from its inception that it wasn't just legislators in the executive branch. We had on-the-ground input, and the 2-year terms, I think, really get a good base of perspectives coming in fresh all the time. But this can be subject to change in the future if it's not working the right way. Thank you.
To Senator Herring's point, certainly we want much input as possible, but I think it gives kind of new life to the technical advisory committees. It seems that they meet, and there are numerous of those, and whatever they do goes to the black hole that we never get to see. So I think that's very good. Senator Berg?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, guys. I think this is definitely something that is a positive move. I do have, reading through the bill, my questions are, how many people actually sit on the board? How many of those are elected representatives from the House and the Senate versus how many of those represent the actual medical community? That's what I want to know.
Thank you for the question. I believe there are 10 voting members of the Kentucky General Assembly on this, and then there are 2 non-voting ex officio members, the chair of the House and Senate Appropriations and Revenue, and then there are 11 non-legislative members.
A follow-up, sir.
Yes, please.
Of those 11 non-legislative members, how many actually represent the medical community themselves? The providers, the people who are on the street working, or in their offices, or in the ER, wherever they are?
Roughly 3.
Thank you.
And if I may, so what's the best ratio? You never really know, and we wanted to make sure it's on there. But if you were to query all the different service providers by sector and try to get representation on the board, we wouldn't have a room big enough in the annex to accommodate them. So unfortunately, we have to call that number down.
Yeah, and it actually looks like 4 now that I looked again.
Motion on the bill.
Motion on the bill. Is there a second? A bunch of seconds. So please call the roll.
Senator Rocky Adams. Senator Berg. Senator Carroll.
Aye.
Senator Douglas.
I'm going to explain my vote.
Yes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Bowling, I really want to thank you so very much for bringing this bill. Hopefully, you can bring some objectivity to this particular area. We're here to provide the best health care that we can to those who deserve the help in that space. And I think the objectivity that this particular board can bring will be tremendous in terms of us directing our monies in the best way they should go. Thank you.
Senator Herron,
Aye.
Senator Mills,
Aye.
Senator Nemes,
Aye.
Senator Rawlings, Senator Richardson,
Aye.
Senator Tishner, Chairman Meredith.
Aye. House Bill 9 passes unanimously.
Motion on title.
Motion on the title amendment. Second? Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. There being none, then again, House Bill 9 passes as amended by Senate Substitute 1. And with the title amendment, passed with favorable expression. So congratulations. Look forward to working with you going forward on this. Next, we'll hear House Bill 152. Representative Meredith, good to see you.
Good to see you as well, Chairman Meredith.
If you would, please introduce yourself for the record and proceed.
Representative Michael Meredith, representing Kentucky's 19th House District.
Chief Nick Clark, Kentucky Association of Fire Chiefs, Jefferson County, President, Jefferson County Fire Chiefs Association.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, House Bill 152 will simply create a Medicaid supplemental directed payment program in our state Medicaid department for public EMS agencies. So when I say a public EMS agency, I'm talking about a fire department, a city or county-based EMS agency, or a county taxing district or city taxing district. So public agencies, for them to take advantage of a higher federal match dollar amount. That is simply what it will do. We have gone to great pains in the legislation to make sure that there would never be any general fund impact to this, that it would truly be pass-through money.
Question.
Sorry, do you have a question from Senator Mills?
Representative, I was just curious where KCO and KLC stands on this.
They are all supportive of this. It would be helpful to all of the agencies that they run if they are, again, actually owned or operated by the local governments.
Very good. Thank you.
Again, there is a motion and a second. Any further questions? There being none, Becky, please call the roll.
Senator Rocky Adams, Senator Berg,
Aye, and thank you.
Senator Carroll,
Aye.
Senator Douglas,
Aye.
Senator Herron,
Aye.
Senator Mills, Senator Nemes,
Aye.
Senator Rawlings, Senator Richardson,
Aye.
Senator Tishner, Chairman Meredith.
Aye, and I thank you as well. The vote is unanimous. House Bill 152 passes with favorable expression. Congratulations, and look forward to moving forward.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee.
Last but certainly not least, House Bill 688. Good morning, Representative Bratcher.
Thank you, Chairman. In committee, Steve Bratcher, State Representative, 25th District.
Good afternoon. Jeff Prather, General Counsel, Board of Nursing.
So House Bill 688 has basically two pieces to it. The first piece is basically allows the Board of Nursing to have a little more authority in saying who gets certified in the state as a nurse. The issue is that we've been having people go to fraudulent colleges and paying for a certificate from a college and then not even getting an exam complete for the national exam and working in places like New York and California, and they'll get certified in those states, and then they'll try to come to Kentucky not having any of the background of passing the license or the education or the experience. And then according to our law, it says that the Board of Nursing shall accept their certification. Presently, we have about 60 people on hold right now that are trying to get certified in Kentucky because of our law. And what this law would do is it changes from shall to May, and it will give the Board of Nursing more authority in digging into the details and making sure that they went through an accredited school and that they passed the certification exam. And so, do you have any comments you want to make on?
That sums it up. Essentially, I don't know if the committee is aware of Project Nightingale. It was an initiative that came up pretty much after the change to the Senate bill, or change to our statute by Senate bill. I think it was 110. Which was well-intentioned to address the nursing shortage. However, they're still finding nursing schools in Florida that they're not, the licensees or the applicants aren't going through the full curriculum, and they're just basically giving them a degree. Now, some of these nurses may have training as an LPN, and then they essentially go through a short course on how to pass the NCLEX. But then they end up getting an RN degree, and then we want to make sure that they're not actually practicing in Kentucky without actually having the prior education and training that they need. Because once we give them a license here, they not only can they practice here, they end up with a multi-state. Potentially, they can go to one of 42 other states that are in our compact. So we want to be very careful about that.
Operation Nightingale was an operation that was done by a sting operation done by the FBI to investigate this and identify these schools that were being fraudulent and trying to pass nurses into the program. So that's one piece that this bill does. The other piece that the bill does is it allows glucagon and what's the other medication? It allows these medications to be in schools for the treatment for people with diabetic. They're diabetic. And so presently, the school nurse cannot store these items in a safe place, and then usually the kids carry it around and they have to inject themselves with a preloaded syringe. And so what this will do is this will allow these medicines to be stored in the school at the nurse's station, and also allow the nurse to train people to be able to train teachers to be able to give this medication. So that's what the second piece of this does. I'll take any questions if there's any questions. Well,
And let's kind of bifurcate this a little bit. Let's talk about the nursing portion first. Senator Berg, is that your question?
Yes, it is, sir.
Please proceed.
Again, I want to say thank you very, very much. I have been hearing, and this is complete hearsay, that the situation is such right now that if you have your nursing degree, you can become a nurse practitioner 1 year online, no actual hands-on courses whatsoever. And in this state, you are subsequently allowed to prescribe narcotics. Yeah, I mean, I think we've got some bad actors in this education space that can be life-threatening. So I really appreciate you all trying to do something about this and informing, because I suspect these students may be being duped as well. I don't think you're intentionally enrolling in a substandard program. So thank you. Thank you very much.
If I may, Mr. Chair.
Yes, please.
That may be the case. We still do have the CAPA requirement, which is the collaborative agreement with the physicians. And one of the things that we're also addressing with this bill, or we're requesting that the General Assembly do with this bill, is to change the language to say from just a licensed physician to a licensed physician in Kentucky with an unrestricted license. Because what we've had is physicians that are in collaborative agreements who have had their license restricted but still can work with APRNs and prescribe controlled substances.
There was some concern and consternation about this portion of the bill because the actions taken a couple of sessions ago on Senate Bill 10, which changed it from a may to a shall. And can you refresh us as what the circumstances were that necessitated that change?
The Board of Nursing was not behind that change. I think it was because we had a nursing shortage and we were trying to find a way to have nurses come to Kentucky and work in Kentucky. And I think the thinking behind it was that if a nurse is already licensed someplace else, they can come here and work, and we shouldn't be holding them up and running them through a process. However, We also still have the multi-state license. If they're in the compact, they can come and work on a privileged practice like having a driver's license. But as long as the shall also states that we can still look at their curriculum, I think it's okay. But the way it's currently drafted, it just says if they have a license someplace else, we have to give them a license. But if we can review their curriculum, and we have a credentials branch, they do a very good job. And we want people to come here. We're not trying to do this arbitrarily, but if we could have someone, if we could just review their curriculum and training and verify that they're appropriately trained and educated, then we're glad to give them a license and let them endorse in.
We definitely don't want to reduce the standards of nursing and cause liability issues for people that are needing these nurses. I understand that we have a nursing shortage, but we need to maintain the standards and the professionalism of the nurses. And we're also looking at other avenues to allow nurses to get certified through a bill that's coming this way, on getting ready to be heard, I guess, on the Senate floor, which is the Heroes to Healers, which allows military-trained medical people to move on a fast track to a nursing degree.
Senator Adams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I know we're changing us from shall to may, but we have a lot of transient nurses that come in and out of our state. What do you propose the time limit to be to get these individuals credentialed? Because I think that's a really important component to this.
Well, one of the issues that we have, and we try to process licensees in Kentucky quickly.
What does quickly mean?
Quickly, as long as they provide us the documentation, we do it fairly quickly. That's one of the reasons why they come to Kentucky. We don't have an NCLEX limit in Kentucky like some other jurisdictions.
But what's quickly?
Couple of weeks.
Okay.
As long as they provide us if they can provide us the background check, curriculum, transcript, we can get them processed within days. However, when we do have certain individuals we have concerns about, we do have to ask them for more information to verify, and that may take a little longer.
I appreciate your question, Senator. That was a good question, and I agree with you on we need to have a speed of that. It is my understanding from dealing with the Board of Nursing that the speed is delayed by the person who's wanting to be certified not giving the documentation that the Board of Nursing is requesting in a timely manner.
Okay, thank you.
Senator Douglas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Bratcher, I do want to thank you all. As I look at page 28, subsection 9 and 10, if you all would you please, at least for those who are watching, would you please go over that just a little bit about the immunity area? Because I know one of the big deterrents in the healthcare space that a lot of people don't like to talk about is the litigation issues that occurs. So could you say just
Yes,
a few words?
Thank you, Senator. What this section basically refers to that is if a person in good faith and has been trained in the school system to give this medication, gives the medication, then they're exempted from they have civil immunity. So basically they can't be sued. And so we have a lot of school systems that are very risk adverse and that are hesitant to do any of this type of this practice. And so that's why we put some of this stuff in here we don't want to hinder somebody's life because of a simple injection because someone didn't want to were concerned because they would get some sort of civil penalty.
Any other questions, comments? Not accept the motion on the bill?
Second.
Motion by Senator Berg, second by Senator Douglas. All in favor say aye. All opposed vote no. Please call the roll.
Senator Rocky Adams. Senator Berg. Senator Carroll.
Aye.
Senator Douglas.
Aye.
Senator Herron. Senator Mills.
Explain my no vote.
Yes, please.
Mr. Chairman, I want to vote no today. I was involved in Senate Bill 10, and I'd really rather see this stay as a shall, maybe with some caveats like the attorney was talking about, because we did have some backlogs and some issues getting some of these licenses approved. And, the last number I heard was, 9,000 nurses short in the state of Kentucky. And as Senator Adams just mentioned, there's a lot of folks that come in and out, and I think we need to do what we can to keep the bureaucracy down and get these licensings approved as quickly as possible. So I vote no.
Senator Nemes,
Aye.
Senator Rawlings, Senator Richardson,
Aye.
Senator Tishner, Chairman Meredith.
Aye. Vote is 10-1. House Bill 688 passes with favorable expression. Appreciate you being here today.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, committee.
We will meet on Wednesday at 8:30, so please be prepared for that, particularly Senator Berg, if you would. Set that alarm early. There being no further business, this meeting stands adjourned.